I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. Now, today's first story comes from Mysterious Stock 948 from the Am I the Arsehole subreddit, and says, am I the arsehole for snapping at my sister that she'll choke on her jealousy one day? Hi. I'll try to keep it as short as I can. I promise I'll clarify things if there are confusions, and sorry about them in advance. I'm 21 female, and I have 2 siblings. My sister is 24 and engaged. My brother is 28 and married to my sister-in-law, who is 25. My parents hosted a family luncheon to celebrate my sister's engagement at their house. I went early to help them set up. My brother and sister-in-law are a little bit later than everyone else. My sister and her fiance arrived last. Everything was going well and everyone was happy until my sister got a text and pulled me aside. She asked me if I could go outside and meet a friend of hers who's going to drop off something for her. I did. The something was a big ball of pure happiness, a Saint Bernard dog with a cute little formal tie around his neck. As adorable as he was, I couldn't bring him in because my sister-in-law is allergic. Her allergy is not severe, but still. Everyone in the family knows it. I told the friend to please wait while I talked to my sister. She did not. I text my sister that I can't bring him inside. She texted it was fine to bring him in because it's a surprise and he's the sweetest new addition to the family. I insisted that I can't. Then I text my brother about it because it had been 10 minutes. I'm standing in the driveway with a big doggy that would not stop licking my legs, not knowing what to do. From what I was told inside, my brother pulled my sister aside and asked her not to bring the dog in. That she knows his wife is allergic. She refused, saying that it's an open space. That sister-in-law will be fine. He then told her the news that sister-in-law is pregnant. I already knew, and they were waiting until she passed her first trimester. My sister then went outside, dragged the dog and then me in when I resisted. My brother, seeing this, excused himself and left with the sister-in-law. We tried resuming the lunch after that, but it was awkward at best. When my sister and her fiance cut the cake, she grabbed a glass of champagne to make a toast. The toast was her rambling about how selfish my brother and his wife were, that they couldn't let her have one day to herself and had to ruin and overshadow it, that they were not the first or last couple to get pregnant. Both of my parents tried to shush her, but she was on a roll and went on to call sister-in-law an attention seeker that just had to give the family the first grandchild. I finally had enough and told her that green isn't a good look on her and that she was going to choke on her jealousy one day. Then I got up and left. She called me a bitch on my way out. My mum called me after and told me it was a bit harsh, even if she was harsher. She also suggested that the 3 of us, siblings, talk it out after things settle a bit. My dad is staying neutral. Haven't heard from relatives that were at the luncheon. Am I the arsehole? So as always, there was some additional information where OP was responding to the comments. Someone said, question, did your sister also know about the pregnancy, like you did, and pulled the dog stunt to make sure they left instead of making a public announcement? Like she would have had the roles been reversed. OP says my sister had no idea about the pregnancy. None of my family did. The only reason I know is because she got sick from the smell of chili cheese fries when we're having a girls' night in. We kind of just looked at each other and a light bulb went off in our heads. It wasn't like my sister was purposely excluded or anything. I can confidently say that my brother and sister-in-law would have never hijacked her day to announce their pregnancy. They were planning their own dinner next month to announce it. I assume that's done with, but maybe we can salvage it with a general reveal if they are up for it. I don't know. Someone talks about OP's mum and then OP's sister dragging her out of the house and then saying, my mum has always wanted us to talk our issues out because at the end of the day, you're siblings. Say it with me, guys. Family. But yeah, that being said, I just went to clarify that even though she dragged me, it doesn't take much since I have the smallest stature of my siblings. So she didn't use a lot of force. I did call my brother and sister-in-law right after I got home, and they were good for the most part. They were obviously pissed, but since the news is already out, there's not much that can be done about it. The commenter says, she didn't even treat the poor puppy well. The last thing a new puppy needs to deal with is the chaos and overstimulation of a family party. And what did they do with the poor wee bugger while they were cutting the cake and making their pissy speeches? Just leave it outside, inside to piddle in a corner. Because the first few weeks with my pups, they piddled with gay abandon every few minutes. Opie says I ended up keeping him company before the cake cutting went down, but yeah, he's not a puppy. If I were to guess, I would say he's maybe 2 years old. I volunteer at a shelter, but I'm definitely not a pro. A commenter says not the arsehole, but I'm confused about who the dog was actually for. If the sister is engaged, that means she's going to be leaving home, so is it her dog? If she got a dog for her parents, that's fucking weird to get a big dog for somebody as a surprise gift. Or did she just do it to divert the attention onto herself because she already knew the sister-in-law was pregnant? I'm so confused. Opie says the dog is hers and her fiancé. They both have their own place where the dog will be living, but she brought him to our parents' house to apparently introduce him to the family. Mum's words when I asked her about it. Someone replied saying, introduce a full-grown Saint Bernard to a family with an allergic member. You can't get much more flying dog fur than that. Surely the introductions could have been made at a better time. Did your mother know she was going to do this? If so, not cool, Mum. Opie says, I don't think she knew since she and my dad seemed pretty surprised. And then she spent the end of the party looking inside and outside the house for dropping, so I don't know. A commenter says, what worries me is this person will see her plan, pissed everyone off, and she'll blame the dog and take it to the pound, or worse, set it free in a remote area. People like this woman are so wrapped up in their own world, they have zero self-awareness. Opie says, I didn't think of that, to be honest. Even though I don't think my sister would ever harm a defenseless animal. I'll keep tabs and make sure he's treated well. Commenter says, info. When you say she is allergic, what do you mean? You say not severely, so not a life-threatening condition. But would she be miserable within seconds, or is it a little bit uncomfortable? Allergies have very wide ranges, and they don't affect the pregnancy at all, unless it's life-threatening, of course. The baby won't notice a thing. Opie says, I don't think it's within seconds, but she does start sneezing, gets a shortness of breath, and if, and this is an example, I pet a dog and touch her face for whatever reason, her eyes get a bit swollen and puffy. A commenter says, I have not read all the comments yet, but what's the fiancé's reaction? Surely he is having second thoughts about marrying your mess of a sister. Opie says he was just kind of standing there, looking awkward as hell, but he didn't seem shocked by her behavior, and was standing by her. He even raised his glass. Opie adds one more clarification and says, I just want to clarify that they didn't announce their pregnancy at my sister's engagement party. My brother told her and only her privately since she was saying no to him asking her not to bring the dog in. As far as I know, they have a cordial relationship, sister and sister-in-law. Not overly friendly, but also not standoffish. It could be that constantly sister-in-law's whims dictate every event. I'm at almost every family event. Some I couldn't attend due to personal reasons, but the ones I have been going to, nothing of the sort happened. I do get why it's seen as my brother and I against her. I just feel like in this situation, he's justified. I'll also be mentioning the deep clean to my parents. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. To me, and this is just my opinion, it kind of felt like that sister is like the golden child, and she didn't like that occasionally the attention wasn't on her anymore. And it was the toast, the rambling that put that into my head that, you know, she was saying that she couldn't have one day to herself and that to ruin and overshadow it, rambling on about the pregnancy. And I'm all up for, you know, meeting up together and talking things out. I always think that's a good thing, but I think it needs to start with your sister giving the apology, not the other way around. But OP came in with her update and said, this is getting so weird, guys. I made a post on another sub about something that happened with my family at my sister's engagement party. Gist of it is my sister found out my sister-in-law is pregnant and flipped about them and me ruining her day. Since then, her and I sort of have made up. I sent her a text apologizing for what I said and she accepted it, but we didn't have a proper conversation about any of it. Anyway, since my apology, she asked who I'm seeing at the moment. More importantly, if it's a man or a woman. If it's men, then how many, and if I'm being careful with my birth control. I was confused and mildly offended at her acting like I'm the whore of Babylon when she knows the only guy I've had sex with is my long-term ex-boyfriend. But whatever.